we go. Okay, perfect. Sorry for this format. Facebook is not allowing me to tilt it the other way, so you're gonna have to bear with me on the vertical view for tonight, but what can you do? So I am working on a jewelry armoire, and I know, surprise, right? So working on a jewelry armoire. This one is really large. It's a really big one, so I think it counts as a larger or small piece of furniture. But I'm working on this one, and I'm using the Prima ballerina decor weave from Hokus Pokus. This is one part of the design. I chose this because it seemed kind of fitting for what I was trying to go, and it's kind of a different style than what I'm used to. The paint, the design has this paint texture where it's like the palette knife, you know, going down. I don't know what that technique specifically is called, but it has that textured look to it. So I'm going to be imitating it to cover the whole rest of the surface and just blend it all in. So it looks like one whole image here for this, and then the other side I'm doing the same thing. So it's going to be kind of the same for each side, and I'll complete it, and hopefully it'll look good. So this is what I will be working on tonight with this. I am matching it with similar colors to get it to blend. So I'm just going to show you how I'm going to do that. Something a little bit different today. Alrighty. Here we go. Okay. So you can see. Alright, so let move you a little bit forward more. Just gotta tug this thing. So what I love about the decor weaves, especially the HP ones, is that they're extremely smooth. They are not porous, very porous as far as that goes, and I like that about them, the smooth part, I mean, because that's kind of what I tend to prefer anyways when it comes to the images, is a smoother one if possible, but it's not always possible, so kind of just work with what I have. But I do like the fact that these ones are smooth, extremely smooth. That's kind of like a bonus for me as far as that goes. And then applying it's really easy. You can use any form of liquid to make it stick on. I like to use the spray adhesives first, and then I'll coat it with gesso or something thick. I prefer a thicker coating to protect this sort of stuff. Decoupage papers especially. I get afraid when it's not quite the same. Alright, so the first color will be black. I'm using the YSL black. Black. I'm gonna do this part first. I think I'm gonna paint the base black first, get that done, and then I will start adding the layers of the colors as I go down. So the base coat will have to be black. And I'm just gonna use my new spiffy Klingon, the angled Klingons. I really love these. I got the shorty for myself, the SA50, because I like the short ones. I think they work better for me. Some people like the long handle ones, which is, they're fantastic too. I prefer small things, so small hands, small things. So I'm just gonna paint this on. Nice coverage. YSL is a fantastic paint. I'm just gonna blend it in, and generally I go over the weave as well. I'm gonna like overlap it if I can to get it to get in. Where is the? Actually, don't this edge part. Let's see, where did I? Yeah, okay, whatever. I will just use a thicker paste. Sorry, usually I sand the edge, but I forgot to do that, so it will have to be what it is. But yeah, sand the edges of the Decor weave to make it thinner on there. That's what I should have done, but it's okay. I'm doing a thicker paste, so it should be okay texture wise. Okay, it's pretty boring, just black right here. This part is going to be white, not going black up there. So that area is just going to be different. Alright, so I need it to be dry in order to even layer it, so I'm going to use my heat gun and dry it. Fairly dry. Alright, great. I need it to be dry. This is generally for all paints in between layers so that it doesn't just move the paint around. You're just kind of just, you know, moving it around, which isn't what you want. So drying in between layers is a must. I'm not going to mess with the bottom part. I'll do that later. I just want to work on this area right here, and really not really anything else as far as that goes. So just brush down. I'm trying to set it aside where I'm not going to knock it over on myself. Oh, and dry this again, of course. Okay, I think this is good enough. We're far enough to do the fun part. This is a little bit of drippage, but because this is textured, I'm not going to sand it even. Usually I don't go this thick either to do the drippies, but whatever. This live is a bit different. Okay, so matching colors. Obviously this has oranges. There's these blues. Mostly the blue I'm liking this part. So I'll do bits of red, actually, swipes of red, and then these are going to be the tones I'm going to stick with. So the orangey, red, yellowish blue type of tones here, darker red. I'll blend it in here just to keep it so that it flows with it, the rest of the weave stuff. So let's do the orangey stuff right here first, and then this is just going to be continuous black, so it's going to kind of be a little bit different on that side, a bit more boring. So I'm just going to continue this side and make it go down, and then do maybe whatever I want, because as I extend it, you know, it doesn't matter. I could do whatever I want down here. Don't have to keep blending it all in. The blue I have is, this is the Paraba's Tail. This is actually one of my colors. You can see it's a pretty good match to this color. I love this blue tone. I love all blue tones, but I like the more teals and that sort of thing. But this is one of my color line colors. And you can see the texture is rather thick. With this paint, you must mix it before use to make sure you really get it all in. So it is thicker, which means that it's perfect for blending. However, if you're going for a smooth texture, it does self-level, but mist it, use a synthetic brush if that's kind of what we're hoping for. One of these lasts a while. It lasts a pretty long time. Just because of diluting and all the things that I do. I don't really need much coverage, so that's the benefit of that. It's a thicker type paint, so if you like that sort of thing, this is perfect. If not, just water it down, you know, and you get more bang for your buck that way. And then I'm using a red. So this is True Canada. Paints usually dry darker than what you see here, so just keep that in mind. This is going to be a bit of a darker red when it dries out. This is true for all paints. All paints dry slightly darker shade than what you see when it's wet. Actually, I'm going to try to give it a shake and like shaking a martini. All right. Alright, this is a lot smoother because I have not opened it yet. This is the first time I'm opening this one, so it's a lot more smoother, but I'm just going to use the lid top. What else? We need another kind of like a greenish teal, which happens to be what I have. So, another one of my colors right here, Cleopatra's Pride. It's a green. So I will have that to blend in that tone as well. Gonna do some blues and reds and greens with it. Oh, yeah, you can tell I haven't used it yet. So, but still mixing. You know, I'm gonna mix it because it is a thicker paint. Oh, already getting dirty. Okay, and then the last one is this one. So you can see there's kind of tones of that one, and plus I like blues, as I told you. So this is the other color I'm going to use, called Mermaid's Treasure. It is a teal sort of color, so will dry darker, but it is kind of more of a teal color that I have. My colors are mostly blue and purples, so that's something that I usually have. Can I leave a bit of the thickness because of the way this is? Anyways, I'm gonna stop babbling and get my palette knives. So I got my palette knives. You know, these guys. And let's see. Let's start with some blues, I think. Or no, I'm gonna start with a bit of the red. I think just and I'm going to darken it with some black, so there's the other knife. Might end up finger painting here if I run out of palette knives. So I'm trying to get some of this black out for this. I forgot to grab my tangerine orange. think is in here anyways. Where is the orange? Shoot, the orange in the middle. Oh, yellow. I'm gonna use this yellow and make it more orange. Okay, the gold mine one. You will use the gold mine rather than the bumblebee. I think the darker yellow is gonna be better. For this, I just kind of mix my own colors a little bit. So you can see it's turning orange. A bit more bright. And then slap on some more black. Sorry, messing with the black because it's kind of pasty in some areas and not so pasty. So I'm trying to scrape it up here if I can. Just trying to get it more dark here. And add the black on the other side as paste as well. Wrong way. I'm trying to let this dry a little bit before I add the blues. I don't want to muddle up the colors too much, so even though I'm kind of doing some weird freehand stuff. So there it goes. It actually has it more going up and down, so I'm going to try to do that with this. Go up and down. A bit more. I know it looks pretty bad right now, but trust me, I'm going to keep layering until it looks good. These paints, they're just a bit thick, so it's going to take a little bit for them to dry up, which is fine. It's just the way it is. But always looks pretty bad in the beginning. I want to add some blue going down, so I'm just gonna kind of hold back on the scraping of the black. I'm going to do a bit more right on the top here though. It's right here. Especially here where I messed up. Edges I really have to get thick because I did not sand it like I should have. I'm just gonna go kind of thick over it and hide it, hide my mistake. Yellow. Have the yellow in a separate container so it doesn't get too in there. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna have to dry this again. I'm not gonna muddle the salt. Okay, I think it's dry enough where I can kind of play around with it a bit more. Where's the other? Let's do the smaller blue. So I'm going to do the Paraba's tail blue. Just add it a bit here and there, like this person has it. So it's going to darken slightly as it dries. So I'm not too worried about it. I was trying to mimic the strokes of this thing that they did. All right, how about some green, a little bit of green, I think. A little touch of green would be good. So let's add a tiny smidgen of the Cleopatra's Pride. Kind of, you know, putting it on the back of here. And it's not a lot, so, but I want to make it more colorful, kind of like up here, if you can see that. So I'm just going to kind of go for it. Do some color here and there, and then I'll overlap it with some white, because it looks like that's what it is up there. So add some white over this. Okay, white is thick too. Gotta mix it up a little bit. Actually, that's fine, I want it thick, so what am I thinking? I'm gonna keep it that way. The white is pasty anyways. I'm gonna do more of the blues because that's what I like, but I'm just gonna lighten some of the green a little bit. It's too dark in certain areas for me. Layering this until I like it. There it is. I think. Just scraping it. Okay, I think it needs more black now. And then more of the blues again. I think I'm going to add a little bit of the mermaid tail right now. It's the different, the more teal colored blue. I'm going to end up having to finger paint this. I'm running out of palette knives, so budget. I'm just going to use a toothpick or my popsicle stick. Yeah, smooth it over. And do more of the blues again. This is just kind of like improvisation. I'm just not going to stop until I like the way it looks. So there's not really going to be a specific technique to this besides smearing paint on until I like it. So that's gonna be the main technique here for this. Let me do the white along here so I can get it to look better than it is right now. All right, where's my baby wipes? All right. Oh, I ripped it. All right, baby wipes to the rescue. And let's get some white again. White, okay. way they smeared is a lot better than what I'm doing right now. My strokes are too long, but if I overlap it as I go, they'll get shorter looking down there. So I don't want to do it too much. I have to let this dry before I keep smearing it, but I just want to make it okay. All right, let's do more of the teal. Here. Yep, kind of looks like a child's painting right now. I'm just gonna keep at it until I like the way it looks. Kind of how I paint anyways. Like, I don't stop until I'm okay with how it looks, and this is gonna be one of those as well. Let's see the black. I'm gonna add more of the red on the other side. That's the orange thing. I'm gonna add the red. Red right here, and I'll go over with some black, make it darker. All right. Into the black here. Strokes are a lot smaller and nicer than mine, but I'll just try my best to do it the way I'm seeing it. I want to add yellow too. I like yellow, so add more of yellow, because why not? Some up and down. So that it's kind of like the up and down strokes on the original painting, with lots of smears going down. So yeah, this one's a bit more forgiving if you're trying to do blending in. It has a lot more of the rough strokes, so this one is going to be a little bit difficult to get the texture anyway, right? I don't know about the design, but it's kind of what I want it to do at this point. So just continue doing it, and then I'm going to end up blending the black over it to make it less like a child's painting. Okay, now I'm going to have to blend smear everything so it doesn't look like absolute crud. Okay, now it's going to be scraping down the black, because it's not looking like it's there at all. is pasty in some areas, which is what I want, but man, is it hard to get off. Okay. All right, so lock down. Get the smear of the black. But I want it on thicker, so this piece part. I think I can go a little bit over here in some areas. Oh, it's butter. Okay. And do a bit more here, I think. I'm just gonna try to scrape it across and hope that it helps. Okay, it's looking more blended, right? I don't know how long it's gonna take me to keep going at it, but I won't stop until I like it. So definitely not done with it. Let's paint. Have longer stripes. I can't make it that texture because it would be really weird if the bottom was extremely textured and the top isn't that much. I'm gonna have to add some anyways on the top because it would be odd to just have this only on the bottom part. It'd be really weird. More of the thing. Sorry, we're near an airport, as you can probably tell, and it's a small airport where they fly their private jets and stuff, but it's very annoying when you're trying to do a live and explain stuff. It is really annoying, so, but nothing I can do about it. Oh, my pants are. Getting there. How about I add some of the whites over here, like raised up. That is easy enough, so I'll do some of the white pasties. God, did I have to fly planes? Okay, let me just wipe this off, make sure, because if it goes on not wiped, that'll be good. Yeah, this is a white on that one. Alright, gonna start finger painting. that was bound to happen. Okay. Yeah, this is a bluish white. It's fine. I'm just trying to make it look more like the bottom of what I have. But, man, okay. No, it's not a good idea. Right, just trying to get a little bit of white here and there. Not don't want too weird. Do the oranges and the yellows too, but I'm not going to do that yet. This one's more of a sky blue, so I need the right blue. I'm not going to touch it if it's not the right one. Okay, blend it in a little bit more. Just trying to get this so it's not so odd. Do the blue up there. That one's easy. Blue schmear right here. So I just do some of the blues here and there. Up here, try not to touch the original as much as I can. I have to grab a pure white somewhere. This one's not white enough. That's even possible. And I can add black in a few areas too, because that's kind of easy. The oranges are going to be a little bit difficult for me. So I'm just trying to make some of it textured at least, so it doesn't look too odd, because it does right now. So I need to even it out a little bit before I call it good. Those. Blend in anyway, so there we go. Yep. So I have to do black anyways down here, so it's fine. Doors. Whatever. I think once I seal it too, it'll even out the sheen, and that will make it less weird. So that should help a bit. As far as the sheen goes, I really need this to blend, so once I seal it with the same, it should be better. Okay, just trying to blend this in. I'm gonna work on this white. I need to find the right white for that one. It's not the same one. Definitely not the same one. Gonna use some of this yellow again. This area. And don't want that to turn that, so yellow, red. Red. Do some of the red. orange. Need to find that orange. It's becoming a problem. Oops. Okay, need to overlap white once this dries up. It looks less like a mess, which it's not. More of the blue, a little bit here. Let's see. White's gonna have to wait, maybe. Well, maybe I can get it. I don't think it's going on the way it should be. Black. And then I'll do the white over this when it's dry, just turning it into like a weird orange color right there. So just gonna keep smearing on the black a little bit. To get it to look more natural. Ooh, it's a little pasty. Side swipes are a little bit harder to do. A bit more, just to make it look even. I think it's slowly getting there. I need to work on this area and do the more white. And then this area I was trying to blend in, but didn't really pay attention right here. So just kind of, wrap that around the edge of here and just get it to look more continuous like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna leave you. Well, I'll add a little bit of black up there. I think that's what it needs. A bit of black up here. little bit like what they were doing, I think. I think it is, but the white. Let's not try not. Oh, this one's easy. Okay, let's get you on here. Now, look on this area. This. Kind of dragging it down, really, and trying to mimic what the original artist has done. So it looks a bit like it. Okay, this side's okay. I'm just gonna paint a little bit on top. This looks like a light green color, so that's going to be, a little hard. See if I can do it and then call it good, because you're just gonna be watching me scrape all day, or all night I should say, and you probably don't want to spend the rest of your Sunday evening watching me scrape paint on this thing. So just a smidgen of the green, and it's got a bit of the black on it. Okay. Getting color tones is kind of hard sometimes. I have to clean the inside of this a bit. Okay, not too bad. So I'll slowly get the rest of this down, the yellows and the oranges, and just work on the rest of this to blend it all in. This part, white and the orange, white and orange, white and orange. I think the bottom is, I'm pretty good with it. I wanted it to be more black in the bottom and have it to be more continuous that way, and then probably paint the bottom of it black, or I'll do something different. I'm not sure right now. I have the front to work on as well. The front will be easier. It's just the legs and it's white, so that one's easier. I just wanted to show the more fun part on the side here, and just like how I did it, which is kind of just scraping with the palette. I will probably end up finger painting a little bit, you know, this to get the bigger strokes like that. So probably end up doing like finger painting like that later on to get it to be like wider, you know, and less scrapey, which is what I did, like more textured like that, you know. Hope that makes sense. So I'll end up doing that later after this part dries up with the smudging. With that, most likely gonna use my fingers because it's gonna be easier. I think the palette knife is good for the base, but I think it's I need to do the broader strokes. My fingers are much better at doing that without scraping too much. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I thought I would do something different for this live, or lives, instead of applying something. I just wanted to do a bit of painting with you, show you how to blend in the decor weaves or even transfers, sand the edges lightly. I got away with it because of this is textured, so it's not as obvious, but for future reference, sand the edges of these so that it's not so raised up and straight looking. These are hard to tear, so I generally say tear, but they're really hard to tear. It's a very, you know, tough product, so you can't really tear it. You just sand it on the edges and then blend it in with the paint, and it should look more cohesive, so you don't get that line, which you can't see on mine because of the texturing, but that's a general rule for the other types of paint if you're trying to get the colors in and stuff like that. This one's a bit different, so it's wanted to share that. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for me. I used a bunch of my paint colors that I have. It was pretty perfect for this one. So I used Paraba's Tail. This is the blue one that I really love. Cleopatra's Pride, which is the green one. And wait, that's Mermaid's Tail, sorry. Cleopatra's Pride is green. Mermaid's Tail is the teal. Black from Wise Owl. The golden rod, and that's also part of the Phenomena paint line as well. So mostly all of these. True Canada, which is the red, that was what I was using for that one also as well. So that's pretty much it. Oh, and this one's called Prima Ballerina. So Prima Ballerina is the name of this decor weave. But yeah, so that's it. Catch me on replay if you want to see me doing some palette knife work pretty much in layering, but I think you get the idea of what I'm trying to do and where I'm going with this. It will look a lot better when you see it revealed. Hopefully it'll look a lot better, but it will look a lot better once I get done with it. But just wanted to show you the general gist of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and why, so that you get an idea of you know, how to blend in stuff. So that's it. If you have any questions, drop them and I'll try to answer you. Sorry for the format. Facebook is just glitching like crazy for me, so I have to deal with this. But I'll see you next Sunday, and we'll be working on something different and hopefully exciting. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thanks for watching, like always.